He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning, and welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Tuesday to everybody that is joining us out there. Glad you're here for another story time. More time together, more time to learn together, more time to enjoy a good story. Thank you so much for joining in today. And of course, as you know, it was Valentine's Day yesterday, so I hope we get to do something fun. Or indeed, if you're alone, it is totally okay too. Hopefully you just get to enjoy the day and have a night in, watch a movie or something. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely appreciate all of you for joining us today. And we are reading this one from Carter Higgins and Lucy Ruth Cummins. I have to slow down to say that combination of names. Thank you so much for joining in. And this one is called This Is Not a Valentine. Yes, it is a fun one, a good one, a beautiful one indeed. I hope that you enjoy it. Yes, coming back to Storytime after a long time. Thank you so much for joining in. Glad you're here for This Is Not a Valentine. Stick around and we'll be reading that one very, very shortly. Please let us know you're here. Let us know where you're joining in from, and of course, who is joining in with you. Yes, the more the merrier. Come, let's have a party and enjoy this wonderful book. A big thank you, of course, to Carter Higgins and, of course, Lucy Ruth Cummins and Chronicle Books of San Francisco for allowing us to share this wonderful book right here on Storytime. A big shout out to you, Eva Zimmerman, as well. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Get ready, get comfortable. Our story is about to start. Thank you for being here. Let us see who is with us this morning, ready for a good story. I hope that you are comfortable. I know the weather has been up and down in places. I hope that you are well and you and your loved ones are doing well indeed. Thank you for joining in. A wonderful lineup awaits. A good story awaits today, and there are many more to come this wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Good morning to you, Abraham. How are you doing today? Thank you for joining in Storytime. And you say, Happy Tuesday. It's cold and cloudy. Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining in today. Glad you're here, Abraham. Good to see you, buddy. I'm glad we're here together for another story. Good morning to you, Terry Kasweka. How are you doing today? Thank you for joining us on Storytime. I hope that you have a wonderful day indeed. After a story time, of course. Thank you so much for joining in. And I'm always glad that you can join us this morning and we can have breakfast together, read together, and be off on our way. Thank you for being here. Absolutely loving it. Good morning to you. Good morning to you, Amanda West. How are you doing? And of course, Sarah and Nathan. And you're saying in lovely and bright Illinois. Oh, I love that. Please do send pictures. Maybe that's what we should start doing. Send us a good picture of your view and we'll try and show it here on Storytime. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. I am glad you're here, of course, and have a wonderful day. I hope that your day is indeed lovely and bright as well, just like it is in Illinois. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning to you. Sarah and Nathan, and of course, Amanda West. Thank you for being here. For this is not a Valentine. Get ready, get comfortable. We'll be getting started with that one very, very shortly. Chris Mitchell Adams, how are you doing today? Thank you for joining us. Oh my goodness. Borden, welcome to Storytime, buddy. Good to see you here. I'm glad you're here for Storytime. Yes, thank you so much for being here. Good morning to you. And it is sunny but chilly in Vermont. Well, thank you so much for joining in. Looks like it is bright days today. Of course, here in Oakland, still cloudy, and it is going to be a cold kind of day here, but hopefully a light sweater will do. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Glad we're here together. And yes, indeed, we'll be getting started very shortly with this one. This is not a Valentine. A big thank you to all of you that are joining in from wherever you are, and whether you're joining us live or indeed joining us for the recordings. Good morning to you. I know we don't get to say good morning to you as much, but good morning to you. How are you doing? Thank you for joining in Storytime, and please do find Storytime on YouTube as well as Facebook, and you can find more information on our Instagram as well. Many events coming up. Excited about them. We will be doing Storytime in Sacramento. I'm excited about that one coming up on February 26th, and of course the Oakland Promise through the kinder to college program. They will be doing their usual events, their monthly events, and this time it'll be on Thursday, this Thursday from 4:30 onward, and you can get to enjoy, participate. There are fun events, book readings, and many different things that happen. So if you can join in, all information is on the Storytime Instagram. Do join in for those as well. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Get ready, get comfortable. This is not a Valentine. Oh yes. Carter Higgins and Lucy Ruth Cummins. I have to slow down for that combination of names. I don't know why I struggle so much to say it faster together. Lucy Ruth Cummins coming to you from Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Good morning to you. Oh yes, right on time. Thank you so much for joining in. Pamela Courtney, how are you doing today? And of course, Braylon and Chad and Auntie Ann, and also sunny but still chilly in Illinois or in Louisiana. Thank you so much for joining us all the way out in Nakitosh. Lots of sun today, it seems like, but still very chilly. So please don't forget that jacket. Don't forget those warm clothes when you are going outside. Send us some of that sun out here in Oakland. It is cloudy right now. Thank you so much for joining in. Pamela Courtney, Auntie Ann, Braylon, and Chad out in Nakitosh, Louisiana. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. All right, let us get ready, get comfortable, and we're going to get started with our story for today. And this one is called This Is Not a Valentine. Thank you for joining us. I am glad we're here. See you on the other side of this message.
Hola, my name is Shamile Sayed Mendez, and I am the author of Where Are You From, Foodia, and many other books for young readers. You're watching Storytime with Mr. Limara.
Oh, welcome back. Thank you for joining us on Storytime. Thank you, Shamile. Yes, wonderful books indeed from Shamile. Please do check her out. Check her books as well. Wonderful books indeed for young readers, for young adults, as well as children's books like Where Are You From? One of my favorites indeed. All right, here we go. Signed, sealed, and delivered. This is not a Valentine. Written by Carter Higgins, illustrated by Lucy Ruth Cummins, and read with permission of the publishers, Chronicle Books of San Francisco. All right, here we go. The universal school bus, right? Do you ride the bus to school? This is not a Valentine. Since those come in buckets of roses and bushes of tulips that smell like grannies fresh out of the garden. This is not a Valentine. All I've got are these, and I already blew the wishes off for most of them, for a rocket ship or the last cinnamon bun, or moon boots and a mega blaster. What would you wish for if you had those right now? Oh, this is not a Valentine. Since jewels and gems belong in treasure chests or museums or ladies who sing at the opera. This is just a little gift. This is not a Valentine. And the fanciest ones don't come out of some machine at a grocery store anyway. But this one matches your best shoelaces. If it won't get past your knuckles, you can wear it on a string. But remember, this is not a Valentine. Oh, such a thoughtful gift. This is not a Valentine. Since sparkle and pink and glitter are not your favorite colors. Oh. You like the brown in the mud puddle and fish food orange and that purpley blue on your nose when it's a mittens kind of day. But red is pretty good for superheroes, and you are my favorite one. Remember, this is not a Valentine. This is not a Valentine. Since those things have fancy cursive and swoopy spins on words that sound like mush. This is not a Valentine. This one is scraps and rips and drips of glue that dried funny, and the green marker was the only one that worked. Besides, the teacher made us make these. This is not a Valentine. This one is scraps and rips and drippy glue that dried funny, and the green marker was the only one that worked. I think my students can relate. Besides, the teacher made us make these. This is not a Valentine, since you're up there at the front of the line and I am the caboose. Maybe one day we'll both be in the middle. I hope it's a Wednesday, maybe a Monday, or any of those days, really. Until then, this. Whoosh. Maybe one day we will both be in the middle. I hope it's a Wednesday, maybe a Monday, or any of those days, really. Until then, this. Whoosh. But this is not a Valentine. Oh. This is not a Valentine, since the cooties tumble out when you open one of those. Oh, this is not a Valentine. But if you get the cooties and I get the cooties, then we can have cherry juice and chicken soup with rice together. But this is not a Valentine. This is not a Valentine. Since sugared hearts and suckers give you cavities and a bellyache. This is not a Valentine. Yeah. Did you get any candy yesterday? Any sugar? Sugared hearts and suckers give you cavities and bellyache. Oh, too many of them. Flip a little. But I found this at the bottom of my lunchbox. You can have the jelly side because I like peanut butter best. Maybe I will have some leftover. Maybe. Oh. This is not a Valentine, since it's got sharper edges than dainty old lace. This is not a Valentine, since it's got sharper edges than dainty old lace. But if you play duck, duck, goose with kids who run fast, you will just get stuck in the stew pot. So meet me at the hopscotch squares. My lucky rock will help. Do you get to play hopscotch? But if you play duck, duck, goose with the kids who run real fast, you will get stuck in the stew pot. So meet me at the hopscotch squares. My lucky rock will help. Oh. This is not a Valentine, since it's not giggles and whispers about where the best hiding spots are. This is not a Valentine. Since it's not giggles and whispers about where the best hiding spots are. But the second best one is in the hollow of that trunk. That one over there. We are the only ones who know. What is your best hiding spot? Oh, don't tell me yet. Others will know. Oh. This is not a Valentine. No. Since I don't only like you today, I like you tomorrow and next Tuesday and last week too. No, it is not a Valentine. Since I don't only like you today, I like you tomorrow and next Tuesday and last week too. Oh yes, I like you every day. I like you all the days. All the days the school bell rings. And just one more time. Oh, I love it. And that's the end. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. This one just always makes me laugh, always just gives me a good giggle. It is such a good book, such a warm book indeed. This one coming to you from Carter Higgins and Lucy Ruth Cummins, and of course, Chronicle Books of San Francisco. This is not a Valentine. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this lovely, lovely book indeed. Always makes me laugh. Indeed, one to keep close to the heart. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're not Valentines out there enjoyed it as well. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely love it. Please remember, We are back again tomorrow for more story time, and I will also be joined by our guest Monty Van, and we'll be reading her latest book, a call and response, which I love so much. And this one is called I Love You Because I Love You. Join in for this one. It is illustrated by Jessica Love. As you can see, those familiar illustrations. Monty Van bringing us this one, and I am super excited for it. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Today we were reading This Is Not a Valentine. I hope you enjoyed it. I absolutely did. And of course, these times that we spent together are very special indeed. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. We continue to celebrate love this week on Storytime, and tomorrow we are back with I Love You Because I Love You. Join in for that one, and of course join in for our guest appearance. Of course, we will be having Monty Van right here coming back to Storytime. Thank you so much for joining in. Let us see who was with us this morning and got to enjoy that lovely story indeed. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Of course, Pamela Courtney, appreciate you. Braylon and Chad, and of course Auntie Ann out in sunny and chilly though Nakitosh, Louisiana. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed that lovely book indeed. Thank you so much for joining us today. Good morning to you. How are you doing today? Baby Bia, how are you? Thank you so much for joining in. And Amanda Wortman, I appreciate that. Zambian time, you are here. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Oh yes, it is a beautiful story indeed. Thank you so much for joining in. I love it. Please don't let this Zambian time rub off on you too much. Thank you for joining in. I am glad you're here. It is bad for business. Thank you for joining in. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I love it. Thank you, Amanda, and of course, Baby Bia for joining us out today. Good morning to you, Betty Deshay, and of course, Rikia. And you say, ran late this morning. I will bring the Girl Scout cookies today. Yes! Oh my goodness, did I say I love those? Yes. Samoas, what are your favorites? Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Rikia, you're making my morning here. I am so glad. Please bring them and do not be on Zambian time like Amanda today. Thank you so much for joining in. Lerato Chisomo, how are you doing? Good to see you as always. Thank you so much for joining in. And of course, the crew, Kondwani, Temwani, Chikondi, how are you doing today? And say happy to be awake to join in for Storytime. I am glad. I know it is in Lusaka right now. It is 5 p.m. It is later in the day. Thank you so much for joining in. I am glad you're here all the way up in Solwezi. Yes, indeed. Kondwani, Temwani, and Chikondi. I am also glad that you're here with us today. Thank you for joining in. And please, if you join us for the recordings, do leave your messages so that we know you are here and we can say hi to you as well. Thank you so much for joining in. Absolutely love it. I am glad you are here. Good to see you. Kondwani, Temwani, and Chikondi. And I love those names. Chikondi, for those of you that are joining us and don't know what it means, Chikondi means love. Temwani means be happy, and Kondwani as well, be happy. I might be getting Temwani a little mixed up. Please let me know if I did get it correct, but I love those names. Chikondi, so appropriate for this time of the year. Thank you so much for joining in. Absolutely love it. May you have Chikondi, Chipumu, love in tons and tons of it. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely love it. Thank you, Chrissy Mitchell Adams, and of course, Bowden. How are you doing, buddy? Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that story. Thank you so much for joining in. Always picturing you on that high table. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope that you get to enjoy a wonderful story indeed. And of course, I hope that you had a good snack to go with it, as I know you always do. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime, and hope it is one that is good. It is a good one. Yes, indeed, a good snack this morning. Thank you so much for joining us out in chilly Vermont. Thank you for being here. Pamela Courtney, thank you so much for joining in. And you say, what a fun read. Carter books are delightful. Yes, indeed. Absolutely. I love Carter Higgins books. And of course, we'll be bringing back some more to Storytime. And you know what's in the works. Carter Higgins may be coming to Storytime. So stay tuned for that. Fingers crossed, stars crossed. We're hoping to bring her here to Storytime. So stay tuned, and hopefully it'll be very, very soon. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely love the time that we spent together, and of course appreciate each and every day that we have breath and are here to enjoy time together. I wish you love. I wish you tons and tons of love. Yes, tons of Chikondi. You've learned some Zambian today, of course. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. And please do join us again tomorrow. We'll be back here on Story Time, God willing. Thank you for being here. Absolutely love and appreciate each and every one of you. Abraham, thank you for joining us, and I hope that the clouds go away very soon. I see the sun coming out here in Oakland, so I hope that it is coming out in San Leandro as well very, very soon. Thank you so much for joining in. Humphrey, we do not forget you. Terry Kasweka, thank you for being here on Storytime. Amanda West, thank you for being here. And of course, Sarah and Nathan, may your day continue to be lovely and bright out there in Illinois. And this goes out to everybody else as well. Chrissy Mitchell Adams, and of course, Bowden. Thank you so much for joining in. May the sunny day continue for you. Thank you so much for joining us on Story Time today. And of course, the homeschooling folk out in Natchitoches, Louisiana, Braylon and Chad, Auntie Ann, Pamela Courtney. Absolutely appreciate you. I am glad you are here for another installment of Story Time. But please do not forget, we're back tomorrow. Yes, for this one, I love you because I love you. Thank you for joining in today. Please do join us tomorrow. And of course, we'll be back for more stories. Please continue to send recommendations. I have gotten a ton. I'm excited to explore and find out which ones that we can bring to Storytime. We're doing our very best to bring your favorite stories, and of course, those stories that you want everybody else out there to hear about as well. We're working to bring them here to Storytime. Thank you so much for joining in. Yes, over people on Zambian time or not, we love you so much. Thank you for joining us on Story Time. Absolutely makes me laugh, that one. I love it. Thank you for being here. And of course, Betty Deshay and Rikia, thank you for being here one more time. Absolutely appreciate you. And then of course, Kondwani, Temwani, and Chikondi, thank you for being here on Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. And of course, Lerato Chisomo as well. Thank you for being here on Storytime. This has been Storytime for this wonderful Tuesday. I will see you again tomorrow for I Love You Because I Love You. And we'll be joined by Monty Van. And this one is a beautiful call and response. So do join in and enjoy this wonderful, wonderful book indeed. But today, a big thank you to Carter Higgins and of course, Lucy Ruth Cummins and Chronicle Books of San Francisco. For this is not a Valentine. I will see you again tomorrow. Much love from me. Hugs, hugs, hugs. Wishing you sunshine and bountiful days. Thank you for being here. Absolutely love it. Bye-bye.
Read me all the stories. Some with people that look like me, others very different from the way that I look and think. Read me all the stories.
Hi, friends. My name is Christy, and I am the author of A Heart in the Sand, also known as Un Corazón en la Arena. Now, this bilingual book is about tesoros, or treasures. And something that I treasure is my friendship with Mr. Lamada. So I have a challenge for you. Share this story time with someone who you treasure, and we can all spread the literary love.
Story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be real. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be